All right, so I want to tell you guys a story about a girl named Claudia. Now, this was my real life eye opening moment, my experience learning why so many men complain about Western culture, American culture specifically, creating trashy women and potentially ruining good women. Claudia was a 22-year-old, gorgeous, 5 foot tall Colombian girl that I met at the gym. Her face looked like a young Selena Gomez, and she had one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most perfect, like athletically thick IG model level bodies I'd ever really seen in real life in a very long time. So I saw her one night at the gym when I'd work out there in the evening time. She walked in. I'd never seen her before. She caught my eye. I looked at her. She looked at me. We locked eyes. And I'm telling you guys, at the risk of sounding corny, this was the one and only time I can remember really feeling like a Disney-esque magical feeling. Like magically being enamored by somebody. We locked eyes, like I said. I didn't break gaze. I was feeling myself that night. I looked at her and kind of nodded and smiled. She looked down and looked back and smiled and nodded at me. And I was feeling the magic. I didn't bug her, though. I carried on with my workout thinking, damn, that girl's fine.
You know, I like what he says here. I watched this earlier. It's a pretty crazy story, but you know, I'm a married man. I'm coming from a Christian perspective as a married man, but this is a very interesting story to say the least. But I'm going to be honest. He's pretty sharp with what he says right here, right? Nobody wants a desperate dude, right? I know many men that are hella desperate. And this guy, the way he explains this and the way his approach was or his non-approach is actually, I think, the right way to, handle the situation. Again, I'm married, but, what I've noticed about being around men that are just, desperate is, man, they just got to just keep on, picking at the women, right? And even back in the day when I was younger, it was I don't want to say a tactic, but it was basically a maneuver whenever you don't, just put yourself out there like you're just so damn desperate. They can smell that. Women can smell that. They can sense that. And it's not attractive whatsoever.
A couple nights later, she showed up again. I saw her again. I got the butterflies. I'm all excited because this hot gym crush that I had showed up again. She looked at me and smiled and gave me a little wave. I nodded and smiled back. And I'm in a good mood all of a sudden. She showed up next to me, worked out on a machine next to me. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to bug her, come on too strong. So I just did my thing, listened to my music, moved on to the next machine. A little while later in the gym, she showed up next to me again for a second time, just working out right next to me. Now at that point, I was thinking, all right, I got to say something now. She wants me to say something. It's time to step up.
Yeah, there it is. You got the, play there, and you made a move, and I'd say that's pretty good, I guess, for being a man and not being too crazy or desperate, right? Make the move. There it is.
I forget what she was doing, some kind of like a hip thrust movement for her glutes. So I used whatever workout she was doing as an excuse to talk to her. I'm like, oh, is that a glute movement? I've never seen anyone do that before. Whatever corny line I use. She was really receptive, though. We started talking and we hit it off. She had the most cute, thick Colombian accent that I just loved. She had decent English. You could tell she was trying to get better at English, but that accent was just adorable. As we got to talking, she seemed very sweet, very down to earth, and very interested in me. And I was obviously interested in her, so we talked a little more. I didn't want the conversation to get too stale, so I'm like, hey, Claudia, it was nice meeting you. I got to run, but hopefully we'll talk again soon. And she goes, wait, before you leave, can I add you on Instagram maybe so we can keep in contact? I said, hell yeah, you can have me on Instagram. Let's do it. So we added each other on Instagram. Right off the bat, I noticed your Instagram was private, which was a plus, right?
Real quick. Nowadays, right, employers want to see your social media. I'm pretty sure when you meet a woman, same thing. Again, I'm out the loop. I'm a married man. I say that to say this. I could just see from this guy's perspective how he looks at things. I'm coming from an age where we didn't really have phones and the internet until later on in our lives. Probably about 25, I would say, is when we got enamored with the internet, right? So I got to live, in and out of both phases, right? Now anybody younger than, 30, 35 and younger, it's internet all day. That's all you've known probably. I say 30 and younger. But I got to live life before the internet and after the internet. So that's why I have a perspective the way that I have it right now. But let's continue. He checks out the social media. Let's go.
It's a green flag to me. She didn't post very often at all, so she wasn't like an Instagram or a social media addict, it didn't seem. She had like 12 posts on there. They were all just like pretty pictures or pictures of her pets, but they weren't over sexualized or anything vulgar.
Good. I'm gonna be honest. That's another thing I see, and I tell them on Facebook. I don't add nobody on my personal Facebook page. I got a couple Facebook pages, but I never add nobody on Facebook, anybody, because I'm the hero. I get turned into the villain sooner or later. So I'm not adding nobody. I don't add women. I don't add men. I guess I'll really be honest. If I add somebody, it's somebody I follow, like on Instagram or another platform, and I see them, and maybe I'll add once in a blue moon. But for the most part, I never add nobody on Facebook, social media, or anything, because I just that's just not how I maneuver, right? So I don't add these people because I notice whenever I'm seeing their content, I don't like most of the stuff I see, and I'm pretty sure they ain't gonna like the stuff that I post. I'm a Christian patriot, but the thing is, if I see women on there all over sexualized, showing their cleavage, every picture, duck lips, whatever, it's over. I made posts before saying, "Hey, I'm deleting, unfriending everybody that's doing this. I'm a married man. I don't want to see this crap." Like I said, I don't add nobody on there. But the point is, I see it in women. You are worth more than what you are posting online. That's not valuable. I see a bunch of women on the internet that post everything for everybody to see, right? And I think that's hella distasteful. And a real man such as myself, when I see it, hey, let's be honest. I'm a man. I have eyes and I can see, but I have morality. I'm not saying I'm Mr. Perfect, right? But I do say this. When I see that kind of content, those kind of women, I'm thinking about my wife. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to have any kind of stumbling blocks in front of me. Call me the, prude Christian, but I will unfollow, snooze, unfriend, especially if it gets really bad with these women, the way they dress, right? We already know how they are, y'all. Some of these people are basically fake OnlyFans pages and want to be models on Facebook, especially of all places, any platform. But the point is, if they get too crazy with their pics, I unfriend, I unfollow, and I truly don't respect or sit here and just gawk over women that are just showing everything. I'm going to be honest, y'all. I don't want to say it's a turnoff, but to someone like me, I don't want to see that crap. And I'm a real man, simple and plain.
Another plus. Also, she had like 50 followers and she was following like 34 people, which most were like family, it seemed like. So again, I was like, this is a nice change of pace. She doesn't seem like a social media addict. This is awesome. I went
very rare
home. We started talking. Her and I hit it off. We kept in contact. We started seeing each other. Now, one of the coolest things about Claudia is, for one, she would pursue me like crazy. So I was accidentally doing the right thing because I was actually really busy. I didn't have time to bug her too much with work and everything. So she would always be the one that would reach out to me. And like I said, I was at work, so my phone would be in my tool bag. I wasn't on my phone all the time, so I maybe was slow getting back to her. And like I said, I was accidentally behaving the right way to where she, was really interested and kept pursuing. Now, her idea of a good time was coming over to my place, us going to the store together, and going shopping to buy things that we can come back to my place and cook with and listen to music and have a good time.
Ain't that old fashioned, right? Wow.
She told me she had never been to a nightclub. She wasn't very interested in nightclubs and stuff. She didn't really follow American trashy, like hip hop music and stuff. She didn't follow much pop culture. She didn't know anything about that. All she really talked about was her family back home, church, her pets, and art and nature and sightseeing in Colombia. It was different. It was like no one I'd ever experienced dating before.
This sounds unreal.
Like I said, we hung around my place mostly. Another green flag of hers was she didn't really seem addicted to her phone at all. She wasn't on her phone very often. She always left her phone face up, out in the open. If she would be doing something, she'd get a text. She would say, "Hey, can you check my phone and see who texts me? I want to make sure it's not my mom or something important." Like, who does that anymore?
Big green flag. Okay, I got a couple of phones. I got 2 phones, making content and doing something else. And the other one, just handling business, emails, whatever. My phone, I don't even like to lock it. I think there's not an option to not lock your phone. And I ain't trying to get on here and say, "Oh, look at me, I do it like this or that. I'm better." No, I'm just telling you the honest truth, right? My phone, if I could leave it unlocked, I would. But I know after a while, you do have to go in there and unlock it. But for the most part, my phone ain't locked though. You can pick up my phone, swipe it up, and look at whatever, right? And that's how it is. Me and my wife, same thing, right? But to be honest, I don't really ever go through my wife's phone looking at none of her stuff, and she hardly goes through mine. But Again, my phone is open. It's on the table. My kids can look at it, whatever. I think that's a big, good green flag whenever you have a phone that's unlocked and your significant other and your kids can get on your phone and look at it. Men, that's how we should be. Open books to our whole families, right? For the most part, some things should be held, or some things you shouldn't tell everybody, right? But for the most part, we should be transparent with our wife and our kids with things such as, our phones. Shouldn't be a big deal. Let's go.
Not that you should be too concerned about your partner's phone, but let's be real. It's a real thing. Like if your partner is protective of their phone, it's a red flag to all of us, whether we want to admit it or not.
Big time. That's an easy way to tell if someone's cheating or if they are guilty. Let me see your phone for a day. Straight up, how many relationships could we break in half if both of you, men and women, traded phones for the day? Whoa.
She wasn't. She didn't care. She left it out in the open. She wasn't on it very often. Anyways, to make a long story short, we saw each other for about 5 months, and it was a great experience. 5 or 6 months into it, though, I noticed she started making more like American Girl friends.
Wow.
And I noticed the behaviors and the language and her behavior. I would catch it like subconsciously and kind of ignored it. One of the first things I noticed was the phone thing. Like, it got to where she was very protective of her phone. She wouldn't leave her phone out. She always kept her phone on her. She always kept it face down. I didn't say anything. I didn't think much of it, but I did notice it. Then, like I said, 5 or 6 months into it, she started talking about how her friends want her to go to like these trashy hip-hop nightclubs with her. Now, I should have
Hip-hop is trash.
spoke up and drew a hard line and said, I'm not okay with this. This isn't something you're going to be doing. I'm not going to be dating a girl that's getting dressed up to the nines and going to these trashy hip-hop nightclubs.
And hanging with the wrong crowd, let's be honest. Show me your crowd, your friends. I will show you your future. Hello.
I didn't say shit. Roast me if you want to. Maybe I deserve it. I should have spoke up when I didn't. And she would get fixed up, dressed provocatively, and go out with these trashy-ass girls to these nightclubs. And right off the bat, I was pissed. I didn't like that very much, so I was already kind of getting irritated with the situation. The straw that broke the camel's back was when one of these girls convinced her to take a job as a bikini barista with her.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, hell no, this ain't happening. So I'm like, look, Claudia, I really like you, but I'm not cool with this. I don't like the direction you're going, and I don't see myself being committed to a girl that's a bikini barista.
Good job, bro. Salute him for making that decision, cutting her off. Sounds like a dream girl, but these trashy single friends that are miserable got a hold of her. How sad. Let's continue.
You know what I'm saying? I remember her actually saying, no, I won't take the job. I don't want to lose you. I want to continue to see you. But like I said, I was pretty fed up with the bullshit I was seeing already. And I kind of was done. I was irritated with her. I was upset with the way she was behaving. I didn't like the direction she was going. So I was like, nah, you know what? Take the job. You'll probably make good money. You're a sexy girl. I don't blame you. Go do your thing. And she was like, oh, well, can we still stay friends? And I don't advise guys staying friends with their exes. But like I said, I was actually indifferent. I wasn't trying to manipulate her to get her back. I actually was done. I was bummed out about it. I really liked the girl, but I was done. I'm like, no, this isn't going the direction I wanted to go. And I'm wasting my time if I continue to pursue a girl that's going to be a bikini barista. So I'm like, yeah, we can stay friends. You go date new people. I'll go date new people. Like I said, I was indifferent. I didn't care.
He was fed up.
We didn't talk too often on social media, but if I'd see her post her sexy pictures on Instagram, like bikinis and lingerie, and they were sexy, made me think, damn, I kind of missed that. She'd post those pictures, and I watched her Instagram blow up. It went from, like I said, 50 followers to 5,500 followers in probably in the ballpark of a month. And we fell out of contact, and then I didn't see her. She must have deleted me or something, or I unfollowed her, because one day, maybe a year later, I got a follow request, and I'm like, hey, that's Claudia. And I went to her profile and accepted it and stuff. We hadn't talked in, like I said, in the ballpark of a year. And her Instagram was blown up at that point. She was posting all these beautiful pictures and stuff. And she had tons of followers. And she was even being followed by 4 Seattle Seahawks and 2 or 3 professional soccer players and all these rappers and stuff. I'm like, damn.
Trash.
She messaged me, oh, how have you been? And blah, blah, blah. I said, I'm doing good. How have you been? She ended up moving to Miami. So she was living in Miami at the time, and she was actually an escort.
Miami. I've seen Anton Daniels talk about Miami. It's not a real place. Either you live in the slums or you live in the high rise, and you got to be racked up to live in Miami, y'all. She moves to Miami, becomes an escort. How freaking sad.
She was messaging me because she said she was depressed and she really missed me. And she didn't like the fact that she went down this path. And like I said, she was an escort and she had like surgeries and stuff. And I thought she ruined herself. She had fake lips and shit. And it looked terrible.
The Kim K effect. I tell my wife every time we see Kim K, she looks different. Her face, even her sisters. I'm like, babe, what happened to this woman? Like when you see these women get this surgery, man, they would look way better if they would have just stayed all natural. Kim K is a perfect example. When I see her and people like her, I'm like, damn, you could tell, just don't look good, don't look natural. I'd rather be natural and ugly than fake, and looking weird as hell.
She went from being this beautiful, innocent, sweet, family-oriented girl that I thought was like nothing I'd ever dated, like something dreams are made of for most men, to becoming a literal escort, hooking up with all these trashy rappers and athletes and stuff. And
wow.
And God knows whoever else, businessmen and what have you, I'm assuming. And getting the surgeries and just ruining herself. And like I said, it was an eye-opening thing for me because I had always heard guys say this stuff about like American culture and you got to travel overseas and whatnot. I don't know, man. I get why they say it. This was eye-opening for me.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. I always, of course, like I said, I'm a married man. And me and my wife, we talk about this. I'd hate to be a single guy trying to look for a woman in America in 2025, y'all. This is what you got to put up with. Women nowadays are not traditional. They're not conservative. Yes, you might find one here and there. But me as a Christian, right? And don't get me twisted. Don't be sitting there saying, oh, you're just a holy roller saying you're a Christian. I'm a Christian, simple and plain. I'm not going to get with some or be looking for, if I was single, I'm not going to be looking for some thought or some wicked whore, heathen woman or whatever, right? If I was in the dating pool being a Christian. Some men have morals. Men, they want to have longevity. They want to have a bloodline. They want to have kids. They don't want the whore. They want a good woman. Coming from a place to where I got it all. My wife, she does everything I need her to do at the house. She takes care of everything I need. She's my peace. I work, come home to her. Man, I got it made. I got it made. And that's how I live my life. And that's why I'm grateful for the wife that I have. And I honestly feel bad for men that are out there in the dating pool. They have to deal with this. I don't even know what they call this nowadays. The westernized woman. I don't know, right? These women that are not traditional. They're not conservative. Because where are their fathers? I'm hearing a lot of videos while I'm doing this reaction. It means a lot if a woman has her father in her life. A single parent household, especially ran by a woman, no good. Now, if that woman you're trying to chase after, she got a daddy like me, my daughter I'm her daddy, best believe she ain't gonna get suckered very easy by any sucker MC. Real men need to get married, stay married, and protect their flock.
And like I said, I had never experienced a girl like that before her, and I've never experienced one after her. Now, I'm grateful for that experience because it was beautiful, it was innocent, it was sweet. This was a girl that was literally, in my opinion, like I said, a perfect 10.
Wow.
Gorgeous, looked like a young Selena Gomez with one of the most flawless, athletically thick IG fitness model bodies I'd ever seen, 5 foot tall. She looked pretty without makeup, and she was just so into me. What a magical feeling I was blessed to have, and I'm grateful for that experience. But it's a tragedy when I look back. Like, it was a tragedy. Part of me wishes I would have spoke up and drew a hard line and like stopped her. But at the time, my thought process was, I was more angry at like, nah, screw her. She's not the girl I thought she was. This is what she wants to do. Let her do it. I'm not going to try to stop her because she's just going to do it anyway.
He was hurt.
Maybe I was right. Maybe I was wrong. But like I said, I see it now looking back as a tragedy. It's really, really sad. I don't know where she is today. Last time we talked, we got into an argument because I still had some underlying anger for the route she took. So I probably insulted her. She ended up blocking me and we haven't spoken since. And it's been probably 2 years at this point, 3, maybe, 2 years probably at this point. But yeah, the only thing I can think is what a tragedy. It's a tragedy, man, to see what she had become. Yeah, it sucks. Anyways, I don't want to ramble too much long. That's the video, guys. That's the story. I hope you liked it. Maybe you didn't like it. It's kind of depressing, but I had to share that. Anyways, I'm out of here, man. Until the next one, God bless, guys.
Yeah, so there he is, y'all. This guy right here. Let me see who this guy is. Let me get his actual info. This is Dev Campbell, 2,600 subs, and it's called "This Is Why Nobody Wants to Marry American Women Anymore." Oh, I got this thing going over here. Anyways, y'all. So sad situation. I got to come back to the Bible always, right? But it's like they say, you know, bad company will corrupt you. It's sad. You know, to hear this story of a girl that's traditional, conservative, probably came from another country with morality, thought about her family, comes to the USA and gets turned out to be an escort. Damn, that's freaking horrible. Imagine her father back wherever he's at, right? Hopefully he don't even know about that stuff. But that's what happens, y'all. Hang with the wrong crowd, get the wrong results. With that, y'all, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. And I'm out. Later.